What is up, guys? It is Jake Ellenbogen. We're starting a new show specifically for betting and for DFS, and it's called Bogen's Bets. So, welcome on in. For those of you who missed it and might have been interested, I started a new show earlier as well called MCU Edge, talking just about Marvel. This will be just talking about DFS, betting, along those lines, talking about FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever questions you guys may have for me. I've been following DFS for the last 3 years, pretty in depth, honestly. And so I figured, you know what? I've won a few. I've won a little bit. I've won enough where why not, spread the wealth a little bit, right? So we're gonna get into it. Be sure to subscribe, like the video if you like this, and don't be a stranger. Be sure to drop a comment. Happy to answer. Just getting into today, Bogen's bets. My picks or my plays of the day. I have the Rangers, 1.5. Minus 1.5 plus 130 odds on my bookie. I have Kevin Porter going over 34 fantasy points on Prize Picks, and Dwayne Dedmon must add tonight 3,700 on FanDuel. The reason for Dedmon is because if you're following the NBA, the Miami Heat have a significant injury in Bam Adebayo, and with him not being there, you have Dwayne Dedmon, who's going to fill right in there. He's going to get you the rebounds. He'll get you some points in the paint and some block shots. He was getting some interesting playing time beforehand, so he is definitely a guy to add. Please don't talk about hockey, says Johnny. Well, I did just mention hockey. The Heat did announce that Tyler Hero, dealing with an illness, will play, and Jimmy Butler has been ruled out. So that does open up opportunities for some other guys. We're going to get into all of that. My preferred FanDuel lineup for tonight, if you're doing FanDuel, really do like Reggie Jackson at 6,300 tonight. He's been playing well, averaging about 27.9 points, fantasy points per night. In addition to that, you have the rookie Trey Mann, who just had his best performance last night, putting up 33 fantasy points on FanDuel. I very much like Luka Doncic if I can ever really get him. He's very expensive, sitting there at the price point of 10,600. But hey, definitely like him. So I added him to this lineup. I think tonight, if you're looking for, a good lineup, a good mix, I highly recommend going for the better value guys and then stacking on top of, and normally I don't like doing this because it never seems to work out for me. But Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight feels like a slate where you're going to want to get in on the cheaper options like a Dwayne Dedmon, a Trey Mann, a Terrence Mann. You might have two Manns in your lineup. How about that? But you might want to get on those those lower price guys so you can afford to splurge on Doncic and Giannis. I feel like that's really going to win you the slate tonight. Eric Bledsoe, 5,100. He's averaging about 23 points per game, fantasy points per game. Not bad there. He's going up against Sacramento. I really like that matchup. They're giving up about 29th in the league for shooting guards in the league. They're giving up that for points. Kevin Porter, though, I can't stress enough, 6,800. To me, he's a steal. Why? Because he's eligible for point guard and he's eligible for small forward. But when you look at Kevin Porter, the thing that I love so much about him with Houston, first off, Houston doesn't have James Harden anymore. Houston doesn't have Russell Westbrook anymore. Houston does not have Clint Capella anymore. So because of that, they're really looking for the face of that franchise. And yes, you go out and you get a guy like Sengun, and you go out and you get a guy like Jalen Green. And, of course, you have Christian Wood, but really Kevin Porter Jr. is becoming that guy. They moved him to point guard, and ever since then, I've really started to see him click on another level. Right now, he's 6,800. He's going up against the 28th ranked defense against small forwards in OKC. And the last 3 nights, he's had 31, 49, and 43 points. Love Kevin Porter, and I love on Prize Picks. You can go over there. His over-under is 34 fantasy points. I like him to go over that pretty easily. He's somebody that can get rebounds. He's had over 10 assists the last 2 nights. He had 12 assists 2 nights ago. And then the last game, he had 11 assists, 9 rebounds, 11 points, 3 steals. That's another thing. He's very, open to getting steals and, intercepting passing lanes and things along that nature. So this is a very active player that has revitalized his career, in my opinion, or it looks like he's going to in that role. So am I about to say lock in Kevin Porter for your Prize Picks, for your props that you can get over on my bookie using promo code JKDTR? Honestly, yes. And FanDuel especially. He is eventually going to be in the 8,000s. He's honestly going down the same path that Christian Wood, fellow teammate who is on the Rockets, he's going down that same path that Christian Wood went down when he was a forgotten about player on the Pistons. Then all of a sudden, he started getting playing time. When he got playing time, he wasn't getting you 20 points a night. He was getting you 40 points a night. And when he got you 40, then eventually he went into free agency and went to the Rockets. And also another reason, with Christian Wood, it's been very intriguing because this is somebody that has a lot of ability, can run the floor very well. He's a fluid athlete. He can get you rebounds, can get you points, whatever. But, the question was, why was he struggling so much on a team that just doesn't have a lot going for it in the Rockets? Well, because they were playing with 2 bigs on the floor at the same time. Now they've been rolling with just Christian Wood. When he's in, he's the 5, and it works perfectly for him because he has that versatility and can get you those points in DFS. So, I definitely like Christian Wood, but in my lineup is Kevin Porter every night from here on out until his value goes skyrocketing. I'm going to be a fan of him playing any night, averaging 28 points on the season. You have Giannis, like I mentioned, averaging 55 points on the season. Again, you want to go more easier, like the guys that you can find, good value for. Maybe they get you 20, 30 points sitting there at a, $3,000 to $4,000 price range. That way you can go out and get Doncic and Giannis. Doncic averaging 48, Giannis averaging 55. Another guy I like is Wendell Carter against Denver. I understand you do have Nikola Jokic, right? Jokic will steal rebounds. It won't be an easy rebound game, but I'm really impressed with the way Wendell Carter is constantly producing. I mean, his last game he had 28, but before that, 39, 47, 36. He's kind of found something there. I like riding the momentum there with Wendell Carter. And then Dwayne Dedmon to me is a no-brainer here. He's going to get the majority of the opportunities with Bam Adebayo out for the Heat. So I highly recommend fitting him into your lineup tonight. What's going on? Jalen Ramsey says, go Blackhawks. I wonder if that's the Jalen Ramsey. That would be something, right? So kind of getting into it. I know someone said not to talk about hockey, but I did a best bets article today on the Game Day. I do write for the Game Day. You can check that out at thegameday.com. And I wrote an NHL article. First one was my pick for today. I have the Rangers minus 1.5 with a plus 140 odds on Caesars. And then, of course, on you have MyBookie, which is our sponsor. You can go to MyBookie and type in JKDTR, and you'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. And it's plus 130 on MyBookie, just so you know. The other one here, that's the Rangers winning by at least 2 goals against the Philadelphia Flyers. I like this a lot. The Rangers are 13-4-3. They're at home. They're playing, they're projected to start Igor Shesterkin in goal. I like him a lot. He's averaging 2.22 GAA per game. And they've won 11 of the last, he's won 11 of their 13 wins. So I like him a lot. Big fan of that. So we're going to go with the Rangers over the Flyers. I also really like the Maple Leafs money line tonight against the Colorado Avalanche, coming on at 7:30 Eastern time. The Avalanche are the highest scoring team in the National Hockey League. They have a furious group. I mean, you talk about Nazem Kadri, who was one of the top performers of the month in November. They've had injuries to guys like Nathan McKinnon and JT Compher. But what I find very intriguing, with Colorado is that, Darcy Kemper, when he's on, they look unbeatable, but he's not on all the time. He has had some consistency issues, whereas Toronto just simply hasn't had that. They've had Jack Campbell in net the majority of the season, and he's arguably the best goalie in the league this year. So, I'm looking at that. I think, I'm not going to deal with any over-under. It's a tough game, but the way John Tavares is playing, William Nylander, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner, I find myself leaning towards Toronto, especially at home, to win this game. They don't have to win it by 2 goals. I'm not confident that's going to happen. There's only been one time going back to November 8th when you did have Jack Campbell give up more than 3 goals in a game. I trust Campbell at home. I'm going with Toronto here in the money line. Minus 125 are the odds there. And then lastly here, best bets. The Vegas Golden Knights versus the Anaheim Ducks at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I've been a big fan of the way both teams have played this season. Obviously I'm a Knights fan, not going to sugarcoat that one, but the Ducks have been very impressive. They've had guys like Troy Terry that have really just taken them up a notch. Terry has become an absolute monster. Plus, they've gotten some great contributions out of John Gibson in net. However, tonight, John Gibson is not projected to start. It's Anthony Stolarz. And in my opinion, whether Robin Lehner goes or not for Vegas, I'm looking at this total goals over 5.5. I'm taking the over here. These are both, teams that score in the threes, plus 3 goal per game range. You have the Vegas Knights getting somewhat more healthier. They don't quite have Jack Eichel back or William Karlsson or Carrier, but they did just get back Max Pacioretty. They just got back Mark Stone. They got Jonathan Marchessault back off of IR. He had COVID. And then, of course, they got the young Zach Whitecloud back off IR as well. The newly signed Zach Whitecloud to a 6-year deal. So they have to be feeling good about that. Again, on top of that, Anaheim is just 5 of the last 10 games they've had at least 6 goals. So I really do like the over on this one. If it was 6, then they have to get 7. That's tough. I like this, though, 5.5. I feel like, the later portion of the night, a 10 p.m. Eastern time game, I'm going to go with the over on that. So those are the NHL picks. And that's what, that's what I have for that. Sure, we can talk about the Rams. We can talk about them in a betting stance. So let's discuss, okay? Because you mentioned, can we talk about the Rams? I'm man of the people. I'm going to mention this. So the Rams are 13-point favorites at home against the Jaguars. Can they cover that? The Rams have struggled as of late, but under Sean McVay, the Rams have never lost 4 straight. So, also, by the way, in case you didn't know, the Rams have only lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars once in overtime. They are 4-1 in a 5-game all-time series against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, will the Rams cover the 13-point spread? Will the Rams and Jaguars game go over or under the 47.5 total points mark? And for me, I'm going to say right now, looking at the Rams-Jaguars game as we stand, minus 13, I'm going to go with yes. I think the Rams do blow out the Jaguars. I think this will be kind of their, not a statement game. You're going up against a bad team, but this will be a game that gets them right back on track. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams minus 13 over the Jaguars, and then the over under with 47.5. I'm gonna go with that's tough because I could see it being like 33-10, which wouldn't give you the over. I'm going to go with under on 47.5 because the Rams would have to win by like 40. Awesome. Just totally dropped my phone. Anyway, so yeah, the Rams would have to win by like 40, and I just don't really see that happening. So, I mean, it could happen, but to bet on that, it's not very likely. So, I'm going to say Rams minus 13 under 47.5 is where I would go. So there you go, Joe. We talked about the Rams. All right. So tonight, let's see here. Talk a little bit about the NBA. We'll get back to the NBA here. I'm just going to go over. So on MyBookie, again, you can go over to MyBookie if you want to double your first deposit with our promo code JKDTR. You can see it in the ticker above, up there. JKDTR is the promo code, and you can up your deposit, double it, your first deposit up to $1,000, and that's on MyBookie. So these are all the odds on MyBookie. We're going to go through each one. We're going to start off Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Washington Wizards. I like the way the Timberwolves have been playing as of late. They are, 3.5 point underdogs. I mean, I could see this going either way. I think, the way the Timberwolves have been playing and the way especially Anthony Edwards has been playing, the second-year man out of Georgia, I could see that going either way. I'm going to tend to lean here. I'm going to go with Washington. I'm going to go with Washington here. They've had a really good season. They're 7-2 at home. Minnesota's 4-4 on the road. I look at this game and I'm seeing, sure, Timberwolves could get this, could make this game close. And I am curious because they have won the last 2 games in a row, and they've been by a combined 3 points difference. They did lose to the Hornets, but before that, I mean, if you look, they've really won, 7 of their last 8 games. They're on a tear. So typically I would go with them, but I do feel like the Wizards at home, they're just a different team. All they have to do is win by 4 and you win that bet. I'm going to take the Minnesota Timberwolves minus 3.5. So then we have, looking at it, we have the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Indiana Pacers. The Hawks are 2-point underdogs. Now with this one, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks on this one. They had just ripped off win after win, about 7 in a row before losing to the Knicks at home. I don't see them losing 2 straight. I think the Hawks really did find something, in that run. And so I'm going to take the Hawks -2 here. Or sorry, +2. I'm going to take the Hawks to win outright. So really, on MyBookie, it's, minus 110 odds if you do the spread. At this point, I mean, it's very unlikely it's going to be that close. So I would go with money line here. You get plus 110 odds instead. I think the Hawks win outright. So that's where I'm leaning. I would probably go with that. And then we have the Denver Nuggets taking on the Orlando Magic. The Nuggets are 8-point favorites here. The Magic just really have been abysmal this season. They have some fun players, but unfortunately, their rookie Jalen Suggs suffered an injury. So, even he's gone. I feel like the Nuggets are just going to outclass them in every way. This will be a straight blowout. I think they easily cover, the 8 points there, -8. So I'll take the Nuggets there. And it's very unlikely when you have an odd of plus 300 to pick the Magic to win. I don't see it, so that's where I'm going there. 76ers taking on the Celtics. We have the Sixers as 3-point underdogs. Look, they didn't have Joel Embiid for a while due to COVID. He had some severe issues with that. He is back. They've lost, they've won one of their last 3, but they've split the last 4 games against the Celtics on the road. I don't like this matchup really for the 76ers. I'm going to take Boston here. I think Boston wins. Take Boston -3. They win outright here, and that's where I'm going there. Looking at Cleveland and Miami, Cleveland is 2.5-point underdogs taking on Miami. It's weird. I like Cleveland. They did lose Colin Sexton for the year, but I liked how they went through that dry spell. They lost a bunch of games, and then they came back and they beat the Magic and they beat the Mavericks on the road, an impressive road win for the Cavs. I'm not saying that they're going to upset the Heat, but I do think that, this could be a really close game. I'm going to take the Heat, but I do like the Cavs. Wouldn't be surprised if they knock them off. I'm going to take the Heat -2.5, and I'm going to go over on that because the over-under is 206. So I'm going to say 2 things here. You're going to want to go with Miami 2.5, and I'm going to go with over 206 total points. I think this is probably going to be a 110, 102 type of game, which does end up getting you that bet. So now we move on to the Dallas Mavericks taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. The Mavericks are 3.5-point favorites on the road. The Pelicans, they haven't really been the best this year. Winners of just 6 this season, 3 of 7 on the road, or 3 and 7 at home, excuse me. And the Mavericks haven't been that great on the road. They're 4 and 6. I'm going to take the Mavericks here, though. The Pelicans are just not, they're not playing good basketball. Really, that's what it comes down to. They have won 3 of their last 4, but they're it's so tough with them because they have the talent. You look, it's evident. You have guys like Devontae Graham. Valanciunas has just been a man amongst boys this season. And then, of course, you have Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson, of course, is out. So we'll see when he comes back. But it's just not resulting in wins. No matter how well Valanciunas plays, they're just not winning games. I know they've won 3 of the last 4, and you would think, yeah, that's a good sign. But, they just, for the most part, they've lost 17 games on the season. It's been hard for them. And, obviously it's a streaky game. They could knock off the Mavericks. I'm going to stick with the Mavericks, especially now that we know, Luka Doncic is back and he's healthy. And that's a big thing. When they didn't have Luka, it was interesting because they got some really good contribution, out of Jalen Brunson. But you typically would like Luka in that lineup. Next up, we have the Rockets taking on the Thunder. And I'll tell you right now, the Thunder, they are 2.5-point favorites at home. I'm taking the Rockets. I like what they did. They're not winning a ton of games. They've only won 4 this season, right? But they just won 3 straight. They figured out the rotation. And this is what I was saying. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about Christian Wood, about why Kevin Porter should be a mainstay in your lineup until FanDuel hikes him up in price. I mean, they figured it out. They figured out that their two best players are Christian Wood and Kevin Porter, and they figured out that Christian Wood is way better off as the 5 than playing as the 4 and playing in a big man style lineup. And they also figured out that when you look at it, you see Kevin Porter Jr. is better suited as a point guard. He is a point forward, essentially. I mean, yeah, he's a small forward, but he's a point guard, and it's working out. You know, the last 2 nights he's had over 10 assists. He is nearing a triple-double every night since he became the point guard. That's not a shock. It shouldn't be anyway. So they figured it out. I applaud them for it. I like that they made adjustments. They got Jayshawn Tate, who's playing good basketball. But, I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. and Christian Wood are they're the recipe for success. In Houston right now, I mean, it seems bleak, but they just ripped off 3 straight. They scored 146 points one night. They beat the Bulls another night, and they already beat the Thunder at home. They blew them out. So now they play the Thunder again, and you're going to tell me that the Thunder are 2.5-point favorites. I'm going to take the Rockets money line here. Plus 115 odds on my bookie instead of minus 115. To me, it's a no-brainer. The Rockets are just playing really good basketball right now. Winners of 3 straight. And it's not just like a fluke. They figured it out. I can't stress that enough. So I'm going to go with the Rockets here. Plus 2.5. Actually, no, I'm going to go with the Rockets money line here, which will win you more money. Plus, I think they went outright anyway. So I have the Houston Rockets there. Now, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, we have the Sacramento Kings taking on the LA Clippers. And I'm looking at this game. The Kings have given the Lakers some issues as of late, but they're really just not that great of a team. They got some things going. Obviously, you know, you look at Tyrese Halliburton, the way he's playing. You look at Buddy Hield, the way he's playing. And then, of course, you know, De'Aaron Fox averaging over 20 points per game. But at the same time, you know, this team, they don't win much at all. They've only had 8 wins on the season. They beat the Lakers. They beat the Blazers back-to-back. But then they lost to the Grizzlies. They got blown out by the Grizzlies and blown out by the Lakers. So now on NBA TV tonight, what happens against the Clippers? They're back in LA. I don't think it goes well for them. Personally, I think the Clippers rout them big time. I'm going to go with the Clippers here. Minus 5.5. I'm going to take that pretty easily. I think this will end up being a plus 10-point blowout win for the Clippers. Reggie Jackson should be in for a big day, as well as Paul George. So I definitely like the Clippers in that one. The most popular bet right now, which is surprising to me, on let's see here, the one that we haven't talked about yet, the most popular bet right now on mybookie.ag is actually the Hornets taking on the Bucks. I don't know where people are going with that. I mean, over-under is 231, which is massive. That's a lot of points. The Hornets are 9-point underdogs, and they have a plus 310 money line odd value. So, I mean, I don't know where I'm going on that. They both have 13 wins. I mean, I guess people want to bid on the Nuggets, or they want to bid on the Hornets because they, you know, went on a huge run and then they lost the last 2 games. I don't know though. I mean, this seems like a little bit of a trap to me. You know, you get the, oh, well, it's plus 9 but I mean, we know, you know, Giannis can take games over and all of that. So I'm a little worried about this, but I'm going to go on record and say the Hornets cover plus 9, and I'm not going to touch that over-under. That's way too many points, and I'm not about to say that they go under 231 because what Giannis can do, what LaMelo Ball can do, what Miles Bridges can do, what, there's just too many guys. Middleton, Drew Holiday, there's way too many guys. I'm not going to get involved in the over-under there. So I'm going to say +9. What's up, Peo? The Sens will do better this year? They're an interesting team because it seems like, they don't win a ton, right? They're not like the greatest hockey team ever. Obviously, you know that. But they compete, and I do have to give them, credit in that regard. They have the Canucks tonight. I like them to beat the Canucks, to be honest with you. Josh Norris, Drake Batherson. I think, they're losers of the last 4 games in a row, and they had 3 games that were postponed against the Devils, Predators, and the Rangers here. Going against the Canucks, look, they compete against the Avalanche, which, you go to Colorado, yeah, they gave up 7 goals, right? It's a lot of goals. But, yeah, that's what they are. They give up a lot of goals, to the Avalanche, 7, but they scored 5. They were within striking distance. That game was tough against the Avalanche, and then they play against the Sharks, and they score 3. They give up 6. Really, the biggest issue with the Sens and why they're not knocking teams off is because they can score and they can be pesky, especially, what they can do on defense. But the problem with the Senators is that they don't have great goaltending. It's just not there. And until they fix that, I don't really know, what to do, what to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't expect anything more from the Senators, until they fix their goaltending issues. Because right now, they are last in the NHL. They give up about 3.84 goals per game, which is not conducive to winning hockey. It's just not. So, they'll have to figure that out. But, they have some players. I like Norris. I like Batherson. I like Shabbat. But that's what it comes down to. They have to fix their goaltending issue. And, there are a lot of teams like that. The Avalanche. They give up 311 a game, and that may not be 384, but 311's a lot for a team that has, Stanley Cup aspirations. Yeah, they can score 7, but what if they give up 8, And they're not going to score 7 every night. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. Also cool overlay. Weird not seeing the blue and yellow, but the green looks cool. Yeah, thank you. It's just for this show. I have a different overlay for the other shows that I'm doing. We'll see if we can build this show up. But yeah, I'm going to try to do this every night, at least, for a little bit. Hopefully people are enjoying it. Just talking, daily fantasy, talking, betting. And then I'll answer any sort of, sports questions. This is the only time you're really going to hear me talk about hockey. Because I write about hockey, so, the pesky Sens, though. That's funny. Yeah, that's it, guys. That's my preview tonight. I'm gonna go over the quick. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm gonna go over my lineup real quick. The one that I'm feeling really good about: Reggie Jackson at point, Trey Mann at point. Reggie Jackson 6,300. Trey Mann is 4,600. Luka Doncic at 10,600. Eric Bledsoe at 5,100. Terrence Mann. Yes, I have 2 Mans in the lineup. Pretty crazy. Let's see. So I have Terrence Mann at 4,800. Kevin Porter at 6,800. Giannis Antetokounmpo at 11,200. Wendell Carter at 6,500. And Dwayne Dedman at 3,700. So if I end up winning you a lot of money, we'll end up splitting. It'll be great, right? What is your sure money bet tonight? Peo, I really like, if you want to go hockey, I like the Rangers -1.5 against the Flyers. The Flyers, they have so many injuries. Not having Kevin Hayes and Ryan Ellis being out, it's definitely hurting them. Brassard, I think, also got hurt. So, I definitely like the Rangers, especially with Igor Shesterkin in net, one of the best goaltenders in the league. Whether they play Carter Hart or not, I just think there's too many weapons on the Rangers. I mean, you look at Adam Fox and, the most most offensive defenseman in the NHL, arguably. Then you have, Artemi Panarin. You have Micah Zibanejad. You have Chris Kreider. These guys are scoring at will. Trouba's playing well. I just feel like the Rangers are on a roll right now, and I feel like this is going to be a pretty easy bet, easy win. They'll win by at least 2, maybe 3 goals, and then you get your bet. If you're interested in NHL, if you're looking at, FanDuel, my pick in the night, well, I'll say 2 because I can't stress this enough. Kevin Porter Jr. should live in your lineup. He is on a tear. He's not going to stop because they switched him to point guard, and he just, that was what was missing. He is playing, it's just natural to him. You watch the instincts, he is a point guard, and that's the thing. So he's staying in my lineup until FanDuel wants to hike him up to 1,000 or 10,000, sorry. But I'll be honest with you, Dejounte Murray of the Spurs, he was a mainstay in my lineup, and then he went up to 10,000, and I still play him because this guy, the thing I love about these guards that, do it all is that they get these points. So if you're playing the passing lane and you're getting steals, that's 3 points per steal. He got 3 the other day, so he gave you 9 points just stealing without even scoring or assisting or rebounding. That's the thing. With Murray, Dejounte Murray, he averages about 8 rebounds a game for a point guard. Then you look at this guy in Kevin Porter, and Porter 11 assists, 9 rebounds, 12 assists, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. I mean, he wasn't playing a ton, and then all of a sudden, now he's playing as the point guard, and his value has maximized. And having him hold on to the ball and be the primary ball handler, it's working out for the Rockets. It's why they've won 3 straight. So he should be in your lineup. And then the other guy in FanDuel is Dwayne Dedmon, 3,700. He's available tonight. He's confirmed. He had a little bit of a knee. He is upgraded. He is projected 30.1 FanDuel fantasy points on FanDuel. To me, if you're getting 30.1 fantasy points out of a 3,700 buy at center, that is a win. You'll take that all day, but I think he could go over that as well. I like Dedmon with Bam Adebayo out, so that is my lineup in FanDuel. Lastly, here I'm going to throw a Prize Picks lineup for you out there. I did one earlier. I like Trae Young to go over 2.5 3-pointers tonight. I like Kevin Porter Jr. to go over 6.5 assists. Well, because I've already told you how I can't stop gushing over this guy. Wendell Carter to go over 8.5 rebounds. Nikola Jokic to go over 12 rebounds. And Christian Wood to go over 12 rebounds. I like Christian Wood going up against OKC. I think there's going to be a lot of rebounding opportunities. A lot of shots are going to go up in that game. So I like that. Jokic, pretty much, he lives above 12 rebounds per game. That's like nothing to him, so I like that. Wendell Carter typically is around 10 rebounds per game. He could get a significant decrease if Jokic just dominates the glass, but I think realistically speaking, Wendell Carter is going to get over and get to 9 rebounds to win you that over-under. And then Kevin Porter Jr., I think, goes over 10 assists tonight. Again, it's going to be a very, high-scoring game, I think, with the Rockets and OKC. I think there's going to be a lot of shots that go up. And I think there's going to be a lot of assist opportunities for Kevin Porter Jr. And then Trae Young getting 3 3-pointers in a game, that seems like a given as long as he's not completely bricking every shot. So I really do like those 4 Prize Picks. Does anyone have any questions before I head out of here? Prize Picks, FanDuel, DraftKings, what bets you should make tonight? Anything? Happy to help. or try to help. I think we'll put one together right now. I'm going to put another prize picks together. So tonight, all right, so I'm going to go with the no-brainer here because I think he goes way over. Kevin Porter Jr. going over 34 points. I mean, I like Christian Wood to go over 38. And then, let's see here. Oh, I like Luka Doncic to go over 51. A lot of points, but I still feel like that'll look like nothing with Doncic. Let's see here. Dwayne Dedmon to go over 28. I like that. And then one more here. Let's see what we can find. I think I'm leaning towards Wendell Carter going over 31. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. So, okay, so this is how we have it. It's, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I think he'll get the rebounds, but to assume he'll go over 31 with Jokic, that might not be the best idea. Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, we got four. We got four locked and loaded on Prize Picks. Over on all fantasy points. If you're on Prize Picks, this is what I'm talking about. You have Christian Wood, Kevin Porter. Jeez. Kevin Porter, Christian Wood. Let's see here. Dwayne Dedmon, Luka Doncic, and then let's see, Giannis, Bledsoe. It's tough, man. Yeah, this is tough. I can't really. Butler is out. So with Butler out, does Tyler Hero go over 39? Or is it better to go with Duncan Robinson over 24? That's tough. That I can't figure out. Yeah, this fourth one is going to get me. That's what's going to end up happening. You know, Tyler Hero. I'm going to go with Tyler Hero over 39. So this is our slip. There's no way you're going to be able to see that because I have to do the manual focus. But anyway, our slip is Kevin Porter Jr. over 34 points. This is fantasy points, not regular points. That would be a lot. Christian Wood over 38 fantasy points. Luka Doncic over 51 fantasy points. Dwayne Dedmon over 28 fantasy points. And Tyler Hero over 39. And we're going to hit the trigger on that one. And that is going to do it. So if you guys don't have any questions, that is it for our first betting and DFS show. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back. I'm try to do this all the time if I can. So be sure to check this back out. Hold me accountable for anything that I get wrong. And that's it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Later.